Yeah. And I'll say also my former workplace, Democracy Now, which is my favorite news show, has such a noble legacy. And I've benefited a lot from it. But their top guest on Russiagate was Marcy Wheeler, who is one of the most vocal conspiracy theorists out there who,
and revealed an FBI, a source to the FBI, no?
That's right. She also turned in a source to the FBI, who she said was played a key role in what she called Russia's attack on the election. Well, her source and her story are nowhere in the Mueller report, and we haven't heard her explain what happened there. And yet she was treated by many people as a sort of a hero for turning in her source, when really she was actually like violating one of the core tenets of journalism, is you don't turn your source to the government. And now we know, based on the fact that Mueller didn't go anywhere with it, that it was totally baseless, as was her entire conspiracy theory. So, I'm not saying that these two outlets, Democracy Now! And The Intercept, were the worst, but the fact that even our most noble outlets could drink the Kool-Aid and go along with it, I think really says something about how bad this our media culture was.
And that's why it was emotionally wrenching for me to see places like Democracy Now!, The Intercept, the Young Turks, where I work, pushed Russiagate. It destroyed me kind of internally, right? It was way worse than the Iraq War for me, because at least during the Iraq War, most of the people on the left were awake about it, right? But this was ubiquitous. It was just a horrible. And well, I looked up who's the editor. Betsy Reed is the editor-in-chief of The Intercept. Betsy Reed is the editor based in New York City. Glenn Greenwald is the co-founding editor. Now we know where he stood at. And then the other one is Jeremy Scahill. He's the co-founding editor. So I'm going to guess Betsy Reed sets the tone over at the over there, I guess. And yeah, it was a real falling down on the job. Again, not only no congratulations, but no apologies. Zero apologies from people for putting us in this horrible position. Hey, sorry for fucking putting you guys in this position and not helping you out, and repeating breathlessly the fucking reports from the intelligence community. I mean, honest to God, Aaron. I mean, honest to God. Can you look those people in the eye again with any amount of respect? Those people who reported the intelligence community red baiting bullshit? Because I can't. And that's a big problem, but I'll ask you.
I think, I don't know. I try to come at people and imagine that in their head, they had the best intentions possible, even if they actually didn't. And I don't know. It depends who they are. Someone like Rachel Maddow, who makes $10 million a year, who was an unhinged propagandist, who misled so many liberals into believing in this fantasy. I mean, no, like that's someone who I think is far gone, and I think should resign from journalism along with many others. But like I don't know people's personal situation. I don't know where they're coming from. Again,
What about the people? Let me ask you this: what about the people who are pushing Russiagate, who then slandered people like you, who were getting it right and using journalistic standards, and then red baited you or slandered you, slandered you as being a lunatic or an Alex Jones?
Sure. Yeah, but I never respected those people anyway. You know what I mean? I'm talking about in terms of like the people where I'm trying to say that there's room for growth and for some, I don't know, learning there. It's just people who on the surface maybe thought that they were resisting Trump, that it was just like the best spin I can put on it is that it was shallow political thinking. Like it was basically a complete just abandonment of what we're all supposed to do as journalists and as political actors, which is, think and use our heads. And so on the surface, they saw that this was told to us as the way to resist Trump. So they went along with it. They didn't want to appear in a very superficial way to be supporting Trump, even though, of course, as we know now by the result, that the consequence of peddling this conspiracy theory and enabling it is that it actually helped Trump.
Yes.
And, and that is the part that really annoys me, especially, is because like this notion, seeing Glenn Greenwald, being described as a Trump supporter is, it's just a joke because, as I've said, all these people who promoted the conspiracy theory and who are still doubling down on it now, they're not anti-Trump. They're actually Trump 2020 gift wrappers. They are wrapping up a re-election gift to Trump and handing it to him with their big platforms. And so, those people, unless they, apologize and ask for forgiveness. No, they can't be forgiven.